Did you know that you wear a watch on your wrist because a Brazilian complained to a friend at a restaurant in Paris over 100 years ago? Greetings and complications, dear friends. A new series is starting here on the channel, The 100 Watches That Shaped the World. In this series, you will see the main watches that shaped humanity as we know it today. Watches that accompanied us in crucial moments of our history and ended up making the world the way it is today. Of course, we have to start with the very first one, right? The Cartier Santos, a watch that was born out of necessity. In 1904, Santos Dumont was already a well-known Brazilian there in Paris. He was affectionately nicknamed. He was nicknamed Le Petit Santos again, right? Since he was about 1.60 meters tall. Santos Dumont had the habit of using his airships to stroll around Paris, go to public squares, go to restaurants. He would simply arrive at the place, arrive at the restaurant, land, tie up his airship there, and go into the restaurant to have his meals. Pretty curious, right? There was even a time when he had an accident, got stuck on a rooftop, and it was widely reported by the newspapers at the time. But anyway, Le Petit Santos was the master of the skies there in Paris at the turn of the last century. And at one of these events, on one of these outings, he went to Maxime's restaurant, a place that still exists to this day. And in a conversation with his friend Louis Cartier, he complained about a detail. He told Cartier that he couldn't check the time on his pocket watch because it was too dangerous for him to let go of the controls of his airships and take out his pocket watch to see the time. Louis Cartier then had the brilliant idea of moving the pocket watch to the wrist. The model that would come to be known a few years later as the Cartier Santos was born, a tribute to Santos Dumont. This was the first men's watch in history, and of course the first watch in our series. Some interesting facts about this watch. Maybe you know this story, but here are a few interesting facts. Louis Cartier was inspired by the new architecture of Paris. Paris had been completely, 60% of Paris had been remodeled a few decades earlier, and Paris was experiencing something new. So Louis Cartier wanted to use the designs of the blocks there in Paris to design the Cartier Santos. And a feature of those screws you see on the dial, on the bezel of the Cartier Santos, was a tribute to the rivets of the Eiffel Tower. Louis Cartier was creating a piece of jewelry to celebrate, worn by one of the most famous Brazilians in our history. But here are some interesting facts about Santos Dumont. The first car to drive in Brazil belonged to Santos Dumont, a Renault Type 3. Santos Dumont, when he invited the French high society to dinner at his mansion, had a dining room where the chairs were more than 2 meters off the ground and people dined with the feeling that they were up in the air. It was Santos Dumont's way of showing his passion for flying. He would have people eat their meals well above ground level. And that's where one of the most famous and beautiful watches was born. The first watch created to be worn by a man was the Cartier Santos, Pilot, a true pilot watch. I said it was the first watch created for men because women's watches already existed, but that's a story for us to tell in another model in our series, The 100 Watches That Shaped the World. This video deserves a like, doesn't it? So hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The Brazil Watch Show is coming up. Tickets are already available on August 21st and 22nd at the WTC in Sao Paulo. I'll be waiting for you there. And leave a comment below saying which watch you want to see in this series, which watch you think should be part of the 100 watches that shape the world as we know it today. Big hug, and I'll see you soon in our next video. Bye-bye.